make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Awesome. Welcome everyone to Make Your Day Richer. We're talking about making the impossible possible here with Maria Palmer. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning, Rich. How are you?
I am absolutely fantastic. How are you?
Very, very well. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Well, thanks for being here. I see a book next to you. Do you want to lift that up and tell
Sure.
everybody what that book is?
Okay, so this is On the Rocks, the Primadonna story, and this book came out actually in August of last year. And it's a narrative nonfiction piece that reads like fiction. It was written by myself and my former AP English teacher, Ruthie Robbins, and it's written in the voice of my father, Joe Costanzo, who was the former owner of the Primadonna Restaurant, which during the 80s through the early 2000s was one of America's hottest Italian restaurants, and it follows his rise to success in the industry and his sharp fall, which ended with a stint in federal prison.
Oh my gosh. Is this the first book you've written? Have you
Yeah, so I am a writer by trade. I'm actually a nonprofit grant writer. I work for St. Paul's Community Development Corporation. Yes.
I was in the nonprofit world for a long time, so thank you for your service.
Yes, and that's 100% right. It is definitely service and volunteer, but it's a passion of mine, and I love being able to get the funds to do amazing things in the community, and St. Paul's does some really great work. But whenever I decided to work on this project, we as a family had sort of lost everything after the restaurant had closed suddenly with my dad's federal grand jury investigation, after somebody had mentioned his name, and then, things kind of snowballed from there. But what I realized is that a part of my dad died when that restaurant died. So as a writer, I knew that stories and images, they stay with people. And I started just asking my dad very basic questions like, tell me why you wanted to go into the restaurant industry, or who was the first celebrity that came down and what did they order? Or who was the first bar fight at the restaurant and who broke that up and what was that all about? And he gave me these responses that as a writer, I kept on saying, this is more than just a family history project. This is really something that needs to be more commercial and a story that needs to be told. So my writing partner and I got together with the help of her writing group, and it took 17 years, but we made it happen, and it's just been fabulous. Lots of positive, wonderful consequences of writing this book.
How old were you when your dad went to prison?
So I was 20 years old, actually. I unfortunately answered the door when the federal government came looking for my father at my family's home. I was in between jobs at that summer. I think I was a lifeguard. I was interning. I was working at my family's restaurant. And they just came and knocked at the door. And it was very jarring at first. You know, this is the type of thing that you see in the movies, and it never really has a good ending. But after they told me everybody was okay and that nobody was hurt or had died, I thought that initially they were looking for my dad because they wanted to question him about somebody that he may have known. And that might sound strange to people that are listening, but keep in mind, we were in business for 20 years. And whenever you are in a public business, the public comes into your business. So we had estimated about 1 million customers throughout that time. And if you take any random sampling of 1 million people, right, most people are going to be nice, good, upstanding. There's going to be a small proportion of people that maybe aren't so. And, because we were the hottest Italian restaurant, we really had the gamut of everybody that was kind of coming in. But after not being able to get a hold of my dad for about 3 hours, I knew that there was something wrong. And, you know, I trusted my gut on that. And that was one of the hardest moments in my life that turned my life into purpose and a way to make my own day richer, because through that, I was able to start working for a nonprofit that brought children to see their incarcerated parents and speak about my story and help to inspire other people to know that the worst day in the world could become your life's purpose. And, you know, that's been really an amazing, wonderful blessing in my life.
Tell everybody about the nonprofit. Is that the Get on the Bus?
Yeah, so Get on the Bus actually functions in California. It was started by Sister Suzanne Jabro, who is a Sisters of St. Joseph nun. And she started Get on the Bus because she was visiting a delegation of women in the Chowchilla women's prisons in California. And they were saying that they never receive any visitors. So she was going to bring a bunch of female volunteers to visit these women. And they said, well, why would we have a bunch of strangers come and visit us whenever we don't see our own children? And she went around the room and asked, how long has it been since you saw your children? And it had been between 4 and 17 years when these women had seen their children. And so she started that first bus. Now in 2025, it's going to be the 25th year anniversary, which is hard to believe because I'm only 25. So I don't know how.
This isn't a math show, so that works for me here. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know how time stood still like it has, but she's touched many people throughout her life's work, thousands and thousands of children throughout the state of California, and even as far as throughout the entire country, because some people travel to California then to participate in the program. So it was a beautiful blessing for me to be able to first volunteer for her and then to work for her. Because of my work there, I was able to open doors. I was the host on LA Talk Radio for a while. I was able to really kind of get my start as a 20-something in the industry, not only the nonprofit industry, but also surrounded in the media industry too. So it's really been a wonderful, positive blessing that, you know, I was able to kind of connect with her at the time that I was.
How long did it take you? Because some people, you know, who would go through something like that, it would break them, right? And it would go nothing but downhill. And I'm sure it wasn't instant that you were like, well, that's okay, because I'll learn from this. So how long did that take you to kind of go the other way and think, okay, I have to do something positive with my life, with my situation?
Yeah, so I actually moved to California during the time that this was all taking place. My dad's case was a 3-year invasive investigation on him and also our family. So I was really upset, and we went from being literally the family in Pittsburgh, like Pittsburgh's royalty, to the family that everybody, you know, tried to avoid. And so how I coped with that is I hopped on a plane and I went 3,000 miles away from my house, because who knew that, you know, your problems shouldn't necessarily follow you in your carry-on luggage, but unfortunately mine did. And whenever I got to LA, I was really in a very broken part of my life. I remember I consider myself a fairly social, nice person, you know, can strike up easy conversation with people. When I moved to LA, I didn't talk to anybody. I would see people on the street and try to avoid eye contact, because I really thought if I started to talk, people were going to say there's something wrong with that girl, which couldn't be further from the truth, and also speaks to where we are whenever we are experiencing heavy trauma in our lives. And it was really going to this presentation of Get on the Bus and finding out what this was all about and meeting Sister Suzanne Jabro and feeling comfortable enough to share my life story with her, even though I wasn't open, with this to anybody else. And then understanding that I could use one of the hardest moments in my life to help other people. And I could talk about my situation to fundraise and support her cause. That's when things started to shift a bit for me. And I felt like, okay, I can do something very good from this situation that wasn't so good in my life. And from there, I always tell people, if you are going through some sort of personal trauma yourself, hang on and hang steady and trudge through the mud, because every day will get a little lighter and a little better. And so I made some wins that way. And then I thought, okay, well, the director quit on a whim, and she said, well, could you be the director? And I said, are you crazy? I can't be the director. I'm like 20 years old. I just got out of college. This is like a hugely state-run organization. I can't do this. And really, my limitations of myself were so much more and so much heavier than anybody else's limitations on me. And whenever I started to let go of that, to put other people first and to say, okay, well, maybe I don't know all the answers, but really, like, who does know all the answers? And now it's given me this wonderful set of life tools where I am not afraid to fail. I try everything. If somebody asks me, do you think you can do this? When I used to be programmed to say, no, I can't do that. Now I think, oh, well, maybe I can do that. I'm a little slower to say no, I would say, than I was before.
I always thought that I always say that because I say yes to things and then go, I'll figure out how to do that later.
Exactly.
And I used to think like that's maybe not the best approach to things, but maybe it is. I don't know. Like it not everybody knows. No, there's nobody who knows everything. So let's learn. I feel like
exactly. And I feel like when you say no, you don't know exactly what you're saying no to. And I'm a big advocate for not saying yes to everything. But I'm also a big advocate in not limiting yourself and saying no just because you're not sure if you're the right person. Obviously, if somebody's asking you to do it, you're probably the right person for the job, and you're probably capable and able, and all of the things that we think about when we stop ourselves in our own tracks. You're probably more than capable to do those things if you just sort of set your mind to it.
Give yourself some time. Who would you say the book is for?
I would say, the book has undertones of humanity, and duality, loyalty, and love. So the great thing about human duality is that we can all somewhat relate to it, right? Because we all have these wonderful things about our personality and awards and great things that we want to talk about. But we have these not so shiny pieces to ourselves too. And I think one of the reasons why the book has gotten the acclaim that it has is we show those not so shiny pieces. And, what happens whenever life seriously drops out of your hands and like a plate falls to the floor and shatters, like what's left and where do you go from there? And I think that, there is a little bit of a self-help element to the book. It's a little bit humorous because some of the characters, whenever you run an after hours bar, which is what my dad did for the first few years, you run into some like seedy people. But, there's also just a greater message of humanity, love. You're not governed by your worst mistake that happens. So I would say definitely people who lived through the 80s and 90s would really find a lot of onus in this book. But anybody that enjoys a fiction piece that's basically a true story, because this book is a true story, but it reads like it isn't, would certainly love this. It's very fast chapters. Every chapter is like 3 to 5 pages. So if you're a night reader, you will not injure your nose or your eyes, dropping the book on your head. as you doze off to sleep.
That's how I do it. Yep, that's how I know it's time to close the book. Yep, exactly. Where can people get the book, and where can people connect with you out there in the universe?
Sure. So my website is www.mariacpalmer, just like my name on the bottom, no periods or hyphens, .com. And the book is really wherever books are sold. We're certainly on Amazon. We're in most bookstores, but if we're not in the bookstore of your choice, it can certainly be ordered through the bookstore of your choice. And definitely check out all of our events. We have some really fun foodie events coming up here in the Northeast, in New Jersey at the end of this month, and then Pittsburgh as well, and on Saturday, and Pittsburgh again at the middle of next month too.
Great. Maria, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much for sharing your story.
It was really a pleasure. Thank you so much, Rich.
Yes, On the Rocks is the book. Make sure you go check out Maria's website and order the book. We'll be right back after this.
You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Join the party that is Make Your Day Richer TV by advertising your brand, business, or project during the show. Use us to promote what you're doing to make our viewers' day richer. 1 month of advertising starts at $200. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Are you an independent creative looking to take your career to the next level? Whether you're an author, illustrator, or thinking about getting into this industry, it's time to step into the spotlight at the INKpreneurs Summit 2024. This November 1st and 2nd in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, we're bringing together the best minds in the publishing industry for 2 days of unparalleled learning and intimate networking. From hands-on workshops with industry experts to interactive networking mixers, you'll get the tools, connections, and insights to turn your creativity into a thriving business. And that's not all. Our Fresh Ink Pavilion is the place for new and emerging authors to showcase and sell their books, right in front of passionate readers and industry pros who are ready to support your journey. Plus, meet our incredible lineup of speakers sharing your secrets to success in publishing and beyond. Space is limited and early bird registration is available until September 30th. Don't miss out. Secure your spot today and get ready to elevate your creative career. Visit INKpreneursummit.com to register. Let's give your creativity the success it deserves. See you in Winston-Salem.
Today's the last day to get that discount for the INKpreneur Summit. I will be there because if you're not sick of hearing me talk every day here, come to Winston-Salem and meet me in person, and we can chat there. It's going to be a really fun time. So that discount ends today. So go get your tickets for that. We filmed this show in South Carolina. Knock on wood. We were very safe during the hurricane last week and over the weekend. A lot of family, a lot of people who have been on this show were not so lucky. And there's a ton of devastation very close to where I live, which is very strange to not have anything happen and to know that a few miles from here, people still do not have power. So do what you can in all of those areas that are affected, no matter what that is. You know, if it's going to bring supplies, getting supplies, donating money, whatever you can do, please do that. It's insane, the stuff that I'm seeing and the stuff that I'm hearing from people. It like blows your mind, and I just am so thankful that we're okay here, and that the people that I have been in contact with are okay. But I know there are a lot of people who are not. So my heart, awful weekend. What else do I have to tell you? Some good things. Well, let's talk about something good. This in the mail with a note that said, "This made me laugh and think of your love of games, you aging millennial you." And it's a game that looks really fun. And it's called You're Getting Old. And it's a party game for aging millennials, which I am now that I'm 40. And I cannot wait to play this game. It's 2 to 6 players. And it looks really fun. So if you are a game lover, as I am, we have an entire cabinet full of games. Go get this game, okay? They aren't paying us anything, and I don't even know if this might be a used game. I'm not sure, but You're Getting Old is the game. It looks fun. When I play it, I will let you know what it is like. There's an extra episode of the Wolf Media Fest podcast that I host, which is a podcast for all creators. So anybody going to that INKpreneur Summit should also be submitting their work to the Wolf Media Fest festival. But there's a new episode out. And actually, this is with an author, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. You can watch it on YouTube. It's called Wolf Media Fest Podcast. And here's a clip from the newest episode.
I mean, just when I finish reading this book, what would you like my takeaway to be as a reader? What do you hope the takeaway is?
Hope.
Hope?
Yeah, because I mostly wrote it in the hopes of like getting to meet my family, my friends, those that have passed away, that I get to meet them in the afterlife. And hopefully not much of a struggle like Ava had to deal with, but something hopeful, something cheerful that is like, I'll get to see them and they won't be in the state of how they died. It'll be like they're perfectly preserved and they're happy.
It's the Wolf Media Fest podcast. I co-host that with Kyle there, who was on the screen. And it's a great podcast. You should check it out. Okay, that is it. This weekend, I was lucky enough to be part of the Padudi Podcast Festival. Say that 5 times fast. It was a 2-day event, 6 hours of live streaming podcasts all weekend. And congrats to Jeff and everybody there. It looked like it was a great success. We did our show, a special edition, Saturday afternoon. And we're going to replay that as an episode here, I think next week with James Quinn, who is a great actor, writer, and will actually be at the INKpreneur Summit. So we'll talk about that as well. All right. I think that's it for today. I thank you all for watching, doing all this stuff. We've got a big announcement also tomorrow, but maybe on Wednesday, because I think tomorrow it's after the show that it's official. But check social media tomorrow afternoon, because I'll be live, not in this studio, but somewhere else, to talk about something very exciting that's happening October 12th and 13th. But tomorrow, you should tune in, because Fitzgerald Sutherland, can I get more coffee, please? Will be here to talk about his children's book. He'll be live here, not in the studio, he'll be on the TV. But it'll be a really good conversation and a great book with the holidays coming up that you should get. All right. I love you all. Thanks for watching every day, all day. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, share. What else do you do? Whatever you do, just don't unfollow and don't leave me a bad comment. And I love you. Go make your day richer and go make someone else's day richer. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Bye-bye.